Homeless, Not Hopeless. My name is Barry.
And I'm Kev.
And we'll be chatting with you and our guests on a regular basis. The aim of this podcast is to showcase homelessness in a completely different and more positive light, and to show that everyone deserves to be seen. And most importantly, we want this podcast to resonate with other homeless and vulnerable individuals, inspiring them and offering something that they can relate to as well. So let's talk for a bit about the general experience of homelessness. If you live in London, you've probably noticed how the homeless population has grown over the past few years. And despite the economic challenges that has affected everyone, the way people view homeless people and the way the general public view homeless people hasn't changed as much as we'd like it to. And that's why we're here. So with each episode, we'll introduce you to someone new, creative individuals with personal accomplishments and stories to tell so that we can get to understand the individuals rather than the overall homeless people.
I hear you. Using the example of Van Gogh, who lived most of his creative life in poverty, likely struggled with mental health issues, but most definitely was known to drink too much. We hope you'll find our guests just as inspiring.
And we want to talk a bit about stigma. We believe this will help us and you to better understand hopelessness. So first, trust us. It can happen to anyone.
Absolutely.
I've met people who had it all and then suddenly found themselves sleeping rough. For example, I've met people who ended up on the streets because of family breakdowns, because of bereavements, leaving the army due to mental or physical health issues, or simply because they lost a job. So it's not true that the only people with addictions or the so-called lazy people or immigrants become homeless. Because as I said, it can happen to anyone at any time for many, many reasons.
Yeah, I hear that. But just for a second, mate, let's dig in and let us show you the official statistics of the current reality of homelessness. Homelessness is growing population.
Right.
The cost of living crisis and the housing crisis in the UK means more people are facing homelessness. The latest official statistics show 360,000 households contacted their local authority for support after being threatened with homelessness or losing their home in 23-24, up more than 10% in a year. Of these, 325,000 were assessed as homeless. The most recent annual count showed nearly 12,000 rough sleepers spotted on London streets between April 23 and March 24. That's a 19% increase on the previous year's total and 58% higher than a decade ago.
That's crazy.
Yeah. Women are often missing from rough sleeping counts because they tend to be less visible than male rough sleepers due to the risk of violence on the streets. That means women are more likely to seek shelter in cafes, transport hubs, or sofa surfing rather than bedding down outside.
Yeah.
And all this information is in bigissue.com. Homelessness facts and numbers you need to know in the UK in 2024. It's the 3rd of October 24 article.
Right. It's awful. It's incredible.
Yeah.
That increased 19% in just 1 year. A significant number of street homeless folks struggle with various substance addictions. That is true. But for a moment, just stop and imagine how hard it is to actually sleep rough, right? It's not only about enduring scorching summer heat or freezing winter nights on the rainy days in between. It's the feeling of isolation, the uncertainty of the unknown, and the lack of understanding from literally anyone. And probably fear, depression, that makes it mentally exhausting. You're permanently in a fight or flight mode. And that's one of the main reasons people turn to alcohol and drugs, to forget for a minute, to unwind, to literally have a break from reality. And can you blame them?
Well, that's the big question, isn't it? But that's what happened to me. I grew up sort of like the old chestnut of a dysfunctional family.
Yeah.
Basically, to cut a long story short, I was in a council flat in Lever Lane down that way in London, and a young lad who came from a seriously dysfunctional family.
Yeah.
Both his parents were smoking crack and leaving it around the house, and at the age of sort of 13, 14, he started smoking crack.
Right.
And he used to come to my door crying his eyes out, and anyway, I I could go off on a tangent on that one, but I'll just leave it at that. But he came up my flat one night, and basically he had a plan. He had a plan. His plan was he knew what the damage crack did, and all he wanted was more crack.
Right.
And so he brought up one lick, which is one steam, one smoke, of crack, knowing what it would do to me. But because of
his own addiction,
but what he'd been through in that family, and just totally neglected and all that sort of stuff, you know, he come up, gave it to me. And immediately, I've got my wages in my pocket. I've just lost my girlfriend. I'm in a bit of a dick about it. But you know, he didn't know so much of that side of things. But he knew that if he gave me it, regardless of what was going on for me, I would be like hooking a fish, and that's what he did. And so you know, like he offered me a pipe, and there he goes. I was gone. I was supposed to just unwind and never touch it again. Well, that ain't how it works, mate. Do you know what I mean? That was it for me. But before I knew, I was highly addicted, and I've been fighting addiction on and off for years now. I'm happy to say I've been clean for 2 years now.
Mate, superb! Congratulations.
No, cheers.
That is awesome. I've never tried it, but I can kind of understand the need to unwind. My experience with it was during the pandemic, when I couldn't work. I'd lost my job, not lost my job, but I couldn't work prior to that because of my health issues and things. I had a lot of chronic issues. And then the pandemic hit, we all had to go into isolation. And because I was a vulnerable person, at the very beginning, I was told not even to go out the house. So I felt very isolated. And then I just found myself drinking more, really. You know, it's a bit of a way of taking your mind off it, as we said. A way of trying to relax, get to sleep. You know, if you're not doing anything all day. But however, since I've moved here, I've significantly cut down. You know, and finally focus on the things that I've always wanted to do, all the things that I wanted to try. You know, get myself back into a routine. Because again, when you're not working, especially in the lockdown, you don't have to get up for anything, do you? So you can just sleep in, get up where you want. And it's not healthy. It's not happy. It's not a nice environment to be in. And then you mix it with too much booze. You've got a recipe for disaster, you know. But like I say, now I'm focused and getting things done.
It's taking on your role in life again.
Yeah, exactly. Nicely put.
Absolutely, mate. Yeah, you guessed it by now that we've both experienced homelessness, and we both currently live in one of SHP hostels based in London.
Yeah. I moved in about a year ago. It's my first experience living in a supported accommodation. But I was lucky enough to be placed here straight after my eviction. My eviction was a no-fault eviction, which I'm sure lots of people know about. So I was really lucky that I never actually experienced rough sleeping.
Yeah. No, I hear you, mate. I've been living here for a few years now. I've been in the system since I was a kid, basically. There were times when I lived independently, but, you know, due to addiction and, you know, just stuff that was going on, it was all a bit clingy, pulling me back into the system. But like I said before, I'm happy to say I've been clean now for 2 years.
Bosh. That's what we like to hear. So a lot of you might not know, or you might know what it is like living in a hostel. Usually the hostels are staffed for 24 hours a day, and there are both internal and external services available to engage with residents on a regular basis, which is a massive help. They include substance use services, nurses, psychologists, just to name a few. And then there's regular activities that are organised, such as trips to the cinema and music or art sessions, as well as scheduled meetings with a key worker, lots of workshops. And the thing is, you get your own key worker, which is really important, because that's someone that you can touch base with. So you can speak to them about any problems that you have that they can help you with, or, you know, stuff that you might be interested in, and they can tell you whether it's available, what they can do to help you.
Yeah.
And the good thing again is as well, you don't always have to schedule a meeting. You can just speak to them when at work. Hello, how are you? Even if you just want to have a quick chat, which is massive. But if your key worker's off that day, you can speak to someone else and they're totally happy to chat as well. So that for me was big. That was a big part.
Yeah, I mean, it might sound like a holiday home, but trust me, it's not easy living among people with substance misuse issues and mental health challenges. It's not a walk in the park. However, it still gives us an opportunity to heal and recover We have a place to call home,
Yeah.
and we won't feel isolated. Yeah, I mean, it might sound like a holiday, but trust me, it's not easy living among people with substance misuse issues or mental health challenges.
No.
It's not a walk in the park.
No.
However, it still gives us an opportunity to heal and recover.
Definitely.
And let me just say that again. However, it still gives us an opportunity to heal and recover. That's a bit better. We have a place to call home, and we won't feel as isolated.
Yeah. But don't be fooled or believe that the street homeless people can just walk in off the streets and be in the hostel for free. It doesn't work like that. The accommodation most definitely isn't free, and it is quite costly. And even though we receive housing benefit, we're still responsible for paying the service charge. You can't just walk into a hostel and stay for the night. You need to be referred by your local authority, so you need to contact them. It is a long, long process. And it can feel overwhelming at times, especially if you're in a very difficult situation as it is. I mean, when I was being evicted, that was an awful period of time. I didn't know what was going on, what was going to happen, or what my options were. And as I say, it took a long time for me to get into the hostel. And you have to repeat your story to people. You're sharing personal details and life circumstances, so it can get a bit exhausting, but it is necessary for the assessment, and it did get me into the hostel. So, I'm grateful for that.
Yeah, for many of us, especially those estranged from family, this is the only place where we can feel kind of safe, really. Unless you borrow some money if your neighbour and can't pay it back.
He's not talking about me.
No. Many people are battling addictions, feelings of hopelessness. Having stuff to support us regularly gives us a bit of peace.
Yeah, definitely. I was surprised when I moved in by how much support is available for people who are struggling. I thought you feel like you're left on your own, really, and you do get a bit of help to move in, and you just think, well, what next? And that's what surprised me is the support.
Yeah, and no. In terms of activities and personal development opportunities, yes, there's still a lot. Currently, social enterprises are becoming very popular in the UK. These businesses contribute to the economy, but also support local communities. Quite a few of them support the homeless population by providing training opportunities and employment. We also still have the old traditional charities that help homeless people access housing or organise different activities. When it comes to support for mental health and substance misuse, it's not as straightforward. Accessing these services is becoming more challenging due to funding cuts. Substance misuse workers have caseloads of around, and I just found this out today, 80 or 100 people.
And that's mental.
Yeah,
That's crazy.
Mental health services don't want to work with people who have dual diagnosis, which is not only against the law, but also just wrong. Many of us never had the chance to fully understand trauma, which often starts in childhood and becomes ingrained over time. That's when addiction comes in.
Yeah.
We've never been shown how to address the negative core beliefs we hold about ourselves. Asking people to address their addictions without giving them the tools to understand themselves better is like asking someone to navigate a maze blindfolded.
Yeah.
You know what I mean? It took me years to understand myself better. My self-esteem kept getting shredded with every pipe. It took years to rebuild what was destroyed in the first few years of my life. I'm getting there now, but the journey doesn't end here. It's a healing process, and I hope others with stories like mine will learn that too.
Yeah, absolutely. See, that's the thing, isn't it? With life, regardless of things going well or not, you're always learning, aren't you? You're still developing. You're still trying to understand. You never stop learning, do you?
No, absolutely.
And if you think you know it all, then you're going to be a big loss there.
You're one sandwich short of a picnic.
Yeah. But the thing is, that's why I was thinking, keeping yourself busy, even if they're small things, is a big step towards healing. Because, when I stopped working because of my health problems, and then when the COVID restrictions came in, you lose routine, don't you? So whereas if you've got to go to work, you set an alarm, don't you? You get up at a certain time, you get dressed, you go to work, you're at work, you come home, and you've got a routine and it keeps you busy. But as soon as you don't have to get up to go to work, you sleep in. And then your day starts later, and you haven't really got anything to do, and you're twiddling your thumbs. And that's dangerous. If you're not keeping yourself occupied, that's dangerous. And I'm not necessarily saying that you just have to go to work. Even if you're focusing on playing guitar, or piano, or painting, or doing your maths, GCSEs, or whatever. And that's what I got back here. I moved in here and I was doing the workshops, I was doing courses and things. I got that routine back. You're getting up in the morning because you've got something to do. And I think that really helped me.
Yeah.
I think that was a really good way of getting back on track.
Yeah, I've been involved in music. I've done drama courses and I've done a bit of performing for some years now. I even did a bit of opera when I was in jail in Wandsworth. And that was interesting because one day when I was on E-Wing, which was the preliminary wing when you go in there, there's a name for it, but I can't remember what it is right now. The lady who was running the project, she come and knocked on my door and said that I've got a visitor for you. And I thought I was leaving the cell and going to the visitors room, which is the process when you're in jail. And no, she brought the visitor to my cell. And in he come, we sat down with a couple of blue plastic prison mugs, had a cup of tea together. And his name is Bryn Turville, who's a tenor. And he's a really famous tenor. But we went over to the church. We did a bit of singing because we got Bryn there, you know what I mean? And he's a really nice fella. And we was doing West Side Story. So there's a great song in it called Somewhere. It's really quite it's poignant and so, gets you thinking, and it's quite emotional. And you've got these 9, 12 lads, all prisoners, because half the cast was like Royal School of this and that, whatever, and half of the cast was prisoners. And when we done that song, it was just all prisoners, yeah? And you got this big orchestra playing and all that, and it was really quite, it was a powerful moment. And but talking about West Side Story, we do that in the church during the day, and in the evening we go back to the wing, and we get back to the wing late. So everyone had been banged up for the night, all locked up now. And we wanted, there was a few little perks to the job. You could have an out of hours shower, so that was a nice thing. And I remember one night going back and went to my shower, and my pals they didn't want to shower. And the showers in Wandsworth at the time, you go in, and it's like 30 feet from the door to where the showers are. There's 1, 2, 3, 4 showers, and that's it, 4 geezers just standing bollock naked showering there. And but so there was no one there, it was just me. And there was this girl, she was playing the part of Maria. Her name was Joanne. I want to say her second name, she was French, she was lovely, yeah. And I had a bit of a crush on her, and I imagine I was in prison as well, I can't say that more, yeah. So anyway, she sings this song, it's a famous song, and it goes like that, it goes, I feel pretty, oh so pretty, I feel pretty and witty and bright, and I pity any girl that isn't me tonight. Tra-la-la-la-la-la-la-la-la, boom, 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 tra-la-la-la. Right, so anyway, I've got this tune on the brain, mate. I've got it on the brain because I've got her on the brain, yeah? I've gone into the showers, my pals ain't with me, so I'm on my own. I'm supposed to put the soap in my hair and all that. It goes, starts running down, stinging my eyes and that. I'm standing in the shower, got my hands on my head, and I'm singing, I feel pretty, oh so pretty, and I pity any girl that isn't me tonight. And I hear the door go, and I turn round, I've got all this soap running down my face, my eyes stinging, I'm squinting like that, looking for, and there's these 2 geezers standing there. They looked at me, turned around, looked at each other, they shook their heads, and they just walked out. Done a back turn and walked out, mate. And I managed to not laugh for about 10 seconds, which felt like an eternity, yeah? But I wanted to piss myself laughing. But I thought, if I do that and they think I'm laughing at them, they might come in and show me what pretty's all about, yeah? So that was that. But there you go. Say no more. I've completed a few half marathons over the past year, yeah.
I thought that, mate.
No, it was tough.
I can't even run up the stairs.
And running has become a therapeutic tool for me. I meet up with my mates weekly for rehearsals, and occasionally we perform in pubs or like events and stuff like that. They're all lads who've experienced homelessness, and we all get together and just we pretend really not to talk too much about homelessness. We know we've all been there, but I think that's part of the thing. We all know we've been there, but when we get together, we concentrate on what we're doing now.
Yeah, because that's not the point, is it?
Exactly.
You're not sitting around going, I was homeless.
Exactly.
What's your story? You're focusing on the music. Yeah, I get it.
Absolutely, mate.
100%.
So, that said, there are times when I take things for granted, though. After being in the system for so long, I've become too familiar with the opportunities available to me, like drama and music courses. But I realise, without these opportunities, mate, my recovery and healing would be significantly more difficult. Sometimes, even though I can play guitar and make people laugh, I don't appreciate my skills as I should. Yet, with each passing year, I'm learning more about myself, becoming kind of myself, and recognising my own values and strengths.
Yeah, definitely. And I think that is something that we should all do. We all need to do that, because we've all got a voice in our head, haven't we, where we're like, that was pretty crap, or I'm not good enough to do that. When in actual fact, if you actually do, none of us really like compliments either, but if you listen to what other people say, you'll find, actually, maybe I'm all right, because someone might say, that picture was really good, and you think, oh, right, okay, that you should use that as a reminder, you know what I mean? Obviously, don't get big-headed walking around thinking I'm the greatest thing that's ever been. That's not the point. You need to get the balance right. But don't put yourself down all the time. But yeah, I mean, with me as well, I mean, since I moved in a year ago, I've done more in terms of creativity than I've done in the last 10 years.
Yeah.
When I got ill, and I couldn't work anymore, I got stuck at home, as I mentioned before, feeling isolated and lonely. And I had no idea that there were things out there available to me to be able to do, because if I looked at courses or things like that, it was just all really expensive and I couldn't afford it. I couldn't afford to do acting classes or, get a guitar teacher or, things like that, or go to college. It's way out of my budget. And also because of my age, I'm 42, I thought maybe, I'm 12 for that, because a lot of things as well, if you're between the ages of 16 and 25, well, that's definitely not for me. But then, when I moved into the SHP hostel, within my first few days here, I met with an ETE worker in Meta. And by the end of that conversation, I was already booked on to different courses. So that was like a 20-minute conversation. Boom. I was already booked onto something. So for those 10 wasted years, within 20 minutes, I was already doing more, which was amazing.
Yeah, she's hard working, she.
Yeah, she really is. She twisted my arm. But what I liked about it was that when she asked about my future plans, and I told her I was in hospitality, but I couldn't see myself going back for a couple of reasons. Because, well, number one, because of my health, I couldn't really do it. Number two, it wasn't in my heart, Every night when I go to sleep, all I could think about was getting back, doing creative, something creative. Whether I was performing on a stage or whether I was creating something behind the scenes, I had to be involved. And that was always there and I wasn't doing it. And I just thought when I moved into the hostel, these opportunities, I'll be honest about it. And I thought at first she might laugh and go, it's unrealistic. She didn't. Immediately said, right, brilliant. And then got me on courses and that changed everything for me. And boom, a year later, I've completed a few great courses, got some certificates. I've tried loads of new things, and I'm hoping I'll continue to grow. I've got this extra bit of confidence that I didn't have before. That's all because of that.
No, when you made a slip of the tongue there, Bal, and you nearly said hospital, I was going to say this place is like a mental hospital at times, isn't it, mate? Don't let's not dress it up and water it down, mate. Do you know what I mean? Yeah, man. We both recently took part in a photography competition run by the My London charity.
Yes, we did.
Yes, and our photos were selected, shortlisted, and awarded a spot on the calendar.
Yes.
January for Barry.
Yes, mate.
The umbrella pictures. And I'm covering December with a hot summer's day, which is really
in Camden.
Covering December with a hot summer's day and the wind blowing and all that. Yeah, it's great.
Everyone in shorts.
So, everyone in shorts. Yeah, brilliant. But no, it was just fantastic experience, and we both enjoyed it, didn't we?
Yeah, it was amazing. And what's really good about it as well is the fact that it's for charity.
Yeah.
So it's called My London. They create these calendars, don't they?
Yeah.
By homeless people or people who have experienced homelessness that are living in hostels. They take the photographs, they get into the calendar, and then the calendar's sold, and the money from that is put back into helping people in homelessness. So it's
Absolutely.
an amazing cause, but also did us the world of good. It was a week of going out taking photographs, and I couldn't believe it when I got in, and I was buzzing from that.
And not to get too fine a point on it, but there's also the aspect of the actual quality of the equipment that we had when we first stepped through the door.
Yeah.
A little plastic disposable Fuji camera, and but that drive when you're around when you do these things around people who you can see the passion and people from other years that have done the camera when we met up and done all that. It kind of inspired you to want to do better. So what we was actually working with was the most basic thing. And, if you get the My London calendar, you'll get to see all these absolutely outstanding pictures.
And they really are.
They really are.
Especially January and December. I heard they're the best.
Listen, mate, I've got to be honest with you. I do like the January one.
Oh,
because it reminds me of the Wizard of Oz. I told you, didn't I? It's like the tornado. Yeah. It's like touching down like a tornado. With umbrellas like the Wicked Witch of the West.
True.
And also the Yellow Brick Road.
Oh yeah.
I'm telling you, but I reckon you was like that was a planting, blood.
Well,
it was a planting.
The thing is, that was the very first picture I took, and that's the one that got in, and all the rest were rubbish because I forgot to put the flash on. So some of them were black, some were just wonky, or my thumb was in front of the bloody screen. Yeah. But what I found interesting about the exercise was when because I sort of took pictures on my phone in lockdown. And I was doing it in public, but there was no one around. But what I realised was, as soon as lockdown was over and I was doing it in public, I kind of was a little bit embarrassed of trying to take proper pictures because I thought maybe people would be going, who does he think he is?
David Bailey.
But this gave me permission to go out and do it because it was for a call.
Exactly.
It's like, we're doing this for the calendar. There's your objective. Go out and do it. So then I felt like, I'm doing this for a reason, and that massively helped my cause. And now I couldn't give a monkey's just looking. I'll go out there and get down on my knees and take a picture under a bench,
Yeah.
Never through someone's window though. I learned that the hard way, but that's another story.
I would like to hear that story.
Yeah.
I would like to hear that one. Can we just cut? For a moment? Yeah. So yeah.
But that was brilliant. That was a brilliant experience.
Yeah, man.
And it was, as I say, I'm continuing to do it, continuing to take photos. And in fact, I'm starting a new course. I'm going to be doing a bit of photography and a bit of screen printing. And again, I might not have done that if I hadn't got in the calendar. It's just giving me a little bit of, maybe I can take a decent picture.
What's this podcast all? The point we're sitting here doing this is because the emphasis is on homelessness. Exactly. It's about homelessness. Whatever way you want to look at homelessness, when we sat here and we've talked about great things. I talked a little about my dysfunctional family, about areas of difficulties in my life, and which definitely guided me into homelessness. Yeah. But ultimately, just to finish off about the calendar, all the money that is raised through that calendar, it goes back into helping, like you said before, it goes back into helping homeless people.
Exactly.
And, I just think that's fantastic. And I think if anyone gets the chance, have a look at the My London calendar. Exactly. And it's a great present for Christmas for people and stuff like that.
And also get involved next year because it's every year.
Yeah.
And the thing is, so if you are affected by homelessness or you are homeless or you live in a hostel, you are allowed to participate.
Absolutely.
And trust me, everyone's wonderful. There's no judgment. It's only encouragement.
Absolutely.
And it doesn't matter. If you don't get in, you don't get in. If you do, it's a bonus. It doesn't matter.
And it can lead on to other things. Exactly. It can lead on to other things, can't it?
Exactly. And that for me, like I say, that confidence boost, getting you out, getting you to do something. What an amazing experience.
Yeah, definitely, mate.
I hope so. Yeah, if you want to do it, look into courses wherever you want to be a chef or a photographer or an artist. Speak to your caseworkers, and there'll be something out there that they can help you with. Trust me, everyone's in the same boat, so there's no judgment. Everyone's cool. And that was the other thing actually that I noticed. When you first walk into a room on a workshop or something, you think, I don't know anyone, what's it going to be like? Well, you find out that everybody's the same. And they're all really cool people, and there's no... And for me, that was a big thing. I needed that, that there was no judgment. It was a bit of a safe space.
No, I hear that, mate. That's nice of you.
And that gave me confidence then to go to other workshops or to do other courses. And that's true.
We're very fortunate to be able to have the access to do stuff like that. That's what I was saying before about when you're caught up in addiction, which is what I know about, and you know about. You're not able to see the wood for the trees. When you remove that plug, the addiction, all these amazing things that are available for you, there's no pressure. They've always been there, but they just it's like you've been wearing shit-coloured specs and now they're pink specs that you're wearing now.
Absolutely.
Oh, sorry, that's the Polish version. Rose-coloured spectacles, I just like to say.
Yeah. No, but it's true. It really is true. And like I say, you can speak to your caseworkers and say, look, I might be interested in doing this, and then they can show you what's available. And again, there's no pressure. That's the other thing. If you're not quite ready, you don't have to do it, but at least know there's the options there. Or maybe speak to somebody who runs it. So, if you're out there, I hope that, if anyone's listening, I hope that helps. I hope it encourages you. But for today, that is our first episode. You know what we're going to be talking about. You've met me and Kevin now. You know who we are. You know what the aim is. And starting from the second episode, we'll be introducing some creative, inspiring guests that we hope you'll resonate with and appreciate for their individual stories also, and talents and accomplishments. So please stay tuned, and we'll see you next time.
And I may have my guitar and play a little tune.
Ooh, if you're lucky. If you're lucky.
Say no more.
Send some requests.
Yeah.
Today I see only one way remains for me. Reflect one regret. Realize I took the bed upon some faded ideology. With a narcissist, expect to crack. Slit your head, bridges built over, emotion split, crushed and left by soulless face, gateways intact. Arching broken backs, seem deep, lion tracks fast. Bridges built over, emotion split, bridges built over.